There is some irony to the fact that I'm going to be recording this video after I just streamed like 13 hours last night and I'm hungover and I'm just messed up. But I haven't just sat down and talked my talk in a little video for a minute. So I think I will. Because I'm about to go out to the airport, which is also a little bit ironic. But first, let me, was regale, is that the right word? I always want to sound so fancy and I don't even know what the hell I'm even talking about. Let me regale, retell, refold to you the story of this trip I just took to kind of let you guys know what's up. Do this old school style, sip cracking style, yeah, buddy. So if you don't know, yeah, I just took a trip to the East Coast, and so here's how it all went down. Basically, last Tuesday evening, I did something that was not so intelligent, probably. I had a great time though. It was a lot of fun. But I stayed up and did a 12-hour stream, no, 11-hour stream when I said I was going to stream for like 4 or 5 hours. But I did like 11 hours. And then I woke up, and I don't think I slept 3 hours. I slept like 2.5 hours, and I woke up Wednesday morning. And I was not feeling so good about getting up after like 2.5 hours. I was up dancing all night and everything like that, just going crazy. But that morning was also especially a little crazy because I had a lot of merch orders. I just had done the logo tee design. Just had that put out that last Friday, and so I hadn't shipped a lot of those orders yet. And if I ship one to you Wednesday morning, you could probably tell. It wasn't everybody, but there was definitely some people where, I have been doing this merch and I've been doing it with these colored pencils and stuff like that. I've been having these colored pencils. I've been doing little designs and everything like that to make it special with like the handwritten thank you notes. And sometimes, you can't do the same thing every time. You got to change it up sometimes. It's just the nature of it. You can't just always have something new every single time unless you think ahead, which I don't. But I just had a pen and I was kind of just like, so I'm incorporating autographs now with the notes because I just kind of was like, whoa, thank you very much, love you, sincerely Eggy, and then I signed them and that was for a few, and I do. I always appreciate it. Even sometimes if you got 5 minutes to shove a package out before your flight leaves, and you got to, I'm never gonna skimp out on the thank you. Except I sold one of the shirts to a family member of mine, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. I don't want like, thank you, family, for your, thank you for being a, they already know that I like, you know what I mean? I just thought it was kind of weird. Anyway, so I'm sitting there that morning, and I'm just sweating like damn, I'm like sweating so crazy because you know how it is like when you don't get a lot of sleep and you're like doing some stuff. That's just how it is for me anyway. It's like I don't know. It's like you got less fibers to work with. You got less oil in the tank. Your engine starts firing up a lot easier. So I'm like sitting there and I'm like, damn, I'm taking caution because I'm like, damn, I'm not gonna sweat on you guys' shirts. Don't worry, that's not gonna happen. But but I was kind of it was crazy, and and when you're in that mode like that and you're really like double checking and triple checking everything, like, oh, fuck, you're, oh, did I have that? Did I have that? I was gone for 6 days or whatever. So it's like I had a couple bags packed. I'm like, oh, what's that? Shit. And you're like, you're already packed and you're still just like sitting there and like, you're just like, you're so like tense and anxious. You're just thinking anything can happen. Oh, shit. It was, you know. But I did have everything. And I got to the airport this is a recurring theme throughout my trip, by the way. But I got to the airport with like, I mean, probably 3 minutes to spare, or at least that's what it was going to be. I'm sitting there I'm going through TSA. I'm sitting there looking at my phone like this. There's this guy in front of me in TSA, and this is the fucked up part about it. I'm going through the TSA line. I'm in the airport. I only got a few minutes to spare, and this guy, he's like a young dude, probably like 20-ish, like early 20s. He's physically fit and he's just sitting there like he's like kicking his bag around like a soccer ball. Maybe he played soccer, I don't know. He's kicking his bag around like a soccer ball. He's like kicking it through the wrong side of the fucking rope thing, and he's kicking it all over the place. I mean, he's real on some Chad shit, to be honest. When you think about it, it was really a Virgin Chad situation. I was the Virgin, he was the Chad, and he's just like, like the line is like people are walking up like 20 feet that way. He's just like kicking his bag around. He's like playing motherfucking Candy Crush and Fruit Ninja on his phone. He's kicking the bag all over the place. I'm just sitting there. I'm just like looking at my phone. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, like I'm counting the seconds. I'm watching the second timer move, and he's just like kicking his bag around. I'm like, oh my god. And then I don't know. Then TSA was on some more bullshit. They had like a whole like family of like 7 Hispanic people all together, and like then they brought them all back out for like I don't know. They're thinking they're moving some kilos for El Chapo. I don't really know, but like they pull them back out, and they like give them all extra pat downs. So like they all go through the metal detector shit where you're doing like this thing. They pull them all back out. So like we're all like in line, and the line's not really moving that fast. All of a sudden the whole line gets pushed back again. And I'm just like, "Arr!" But once again, I just happened to walk up on it, and the flight was delayed by a few minutes. So then I walk up, and they just like we're just finishing the boarding and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, perfect, absolutely perfect. I got to pick my own seats and everything too, so I got the window seat every time. And I got to sit by, the one time was like a very large woman, but the other time was like kind of a hot babe. I'm not gonna forget that. Plus, I'm making a video about it. I'm gonna remember that. The girl in the dress, she had a color streak in her hair, and she was wearing a very nice dress, and she was hot stuff. So hey, baby, ever see that? Anyway, I stopped in Washington D.C. and I got a Five Guys cheeseburger, and it was order 66, and I'm like, order 66, Five Guys cheeseburger, order 66, Washington D.C. Order 66, Washington D.C. Five Guys. I was laughing my ass off, like nobody else there had any idea. Like I looked like somebody crazy. I looked like I was gonna kill everybody in the airport. I looked like I was gonna do some crazy shit. I looked psychotic. But here's the thing about these layovers too these days, So it was a layover in Washington D.C. But these layovers they're doing, it's not even a layover anymore, It's a layover, but it'll be like a 5-minute layover. It's like they gotta fly these little planes. They fly like the little fucking like 10-person planes into Washington D.C. or Philadelphia or Newark or whatever, into like the big airports, right? And then like everybody consolidates off the small plane, and then they go into like the main flight, or it could be the opposite way. Actually, you might take the main flight and then get on a little dinky plane. That's how when I got to Providence. I'm walking out. They had us on this little dinky ass plane, and we're walking out on the runway and stuff. But the thing about these little like 5-minute layovers is like it's you're tripped out about it because it's like you're going and you're ready to chill for a minute. But I mean honestly, like I almost missed boarding my next flight because I'm sitting there. All I did was go through the fucking Five Guys line, and I just about missed getting on my flight. They're like, all right, final boarding call. And I'm like, what? All I got is a cheeseburger. Stop playing with me. But on top of that, I actually did not eat the cheeseburger because I eventually did. But I didn't eat it there because I'm like, shit, well, I'm gonna board the plane and I can just put it in my bag, no problem. But then on the Washington D.C. plane, that's where I sat next to that hot chick in the dress with the streak in her hair of color. And I'm like, damn, I can't just eat a burger on a plane next to a hot chick. She's sitting next to me. I'm like, that's just foul. That's foul. Hey, we finally took off. 20 minutes deep, 30 minutes deep. Let me grab my airport cheeseburger out of my backpack. That's disgusting. I wouldn't mind if somebody did that next to me, but I could tell this woman she was special. She had class and she had dignity, which I did not have if I was going to eat a fucking airport cheeseburger. So I did. I ended up eating it in my hotel room. Good times. So eventually I got in that night, stepped off the little dinky plane onto the runway. I acted like I was getting off a private jet on Instagram, because I felt like that makes me cool. Even though that's private jets are kind of stupid. Like, would you pay like $1 million just to fly like away from people? I don't know. It's some type of money that I'm not accustomed to, that I couldn't imagine spending that much money on a private jet anyway. Either way, excuse me. So, excuse me. So yeah, I got off a plane, and I was gonna go click up with the one team, which I did the next day because they were already asleep by the time I got in at like midnight, and they were all snoozed out. I'm not too sure what those guys' schedules are like, but it seems like they kind of flip around, and I am not one to critique a flipping around schedule. I tell you that much. So I'm like, all right, they're all snoozed out, they're all crashed out. That's all good. So I got a hotel uh, in the financial district, and it was a pretty decent hotel. You know, there were some pretty cool dudes up in there. I don't know who they were, but you know they I like when people because I never use a credit card because I don't fuck with credit cards. So I'll go and I get a hotel, but I'll like pay through PayPal because they let you do that. And they're like, all right, well, you need a deposit for incidentals, and I just give them my debit card, and then it's always the same thing. They're like, they want to ask me for a credit card, but my debit card like still works. You know, that just works. You know, it's if somebody wants to make an issue about it, then that's just on them. You know, but at least they kind of it's an awkward pause, and I'm sitting there and I'm just chilling. I'm like, bro, are you gonna try me? Are you gonna try me about this shit? They don't usually. But yeah, it was a pretty chilled hotel because when I booked it, it only was had one bed, and then I walked in and it was a two bed. Didn't mean anything different to me, but and even though that I ate my airport cheeseburger, the thing about airport cheeseburgers is that sometimes they aren't they just aren't all that. To be honest, I probably didn't need to eat anything else, but I hadn't eaten all day. Like I said, I was busting ass in the morning. I was sweating all over the place. I was an animal. I was a wild, disgusting beast. I was filthy and a disgusting animal. So I ordered a little bit of delivery, takeout to my hotel room. Also, yes, it was called the late night special from Vasilio's. I got chicken tendies, a brownie, and Diet Pepsi, and a few slices of pizza. And you know what? It was pretty decent. And I actually ate it for like 2 days because then I ended up, when I did go to the one team house, I just put the leftovers in their fridge since I had already eaten an airport cheeseburger. It turns out I didn't quite have the stomach to eat all the other stuff too, which was totally fine. And overall, it was not a bad idea. But yeah, when I was in the hotel, I do what I usually do in a hotel. My favorite thing to do in a hotel, actually, well, my favorite thing to do in the hotel is to piss in the sink. I love to just be a wild animal. I love to just go off a leash, get unleashed, and be a disgusting freak. Because you got to be a freak, can't be a cookie cutter. But I actually didn't piss in the sink there, which I would typically do sometimes. Not all the time. I don't know. I'm not trying to incriminate myself here. I'm not some kind of disgusting animal that much. But when I'm in a hotel room, I love to just I take off all my clothes and I walk around on my knuckles and I scream at the top of my lungs and I just love to act like a complete just animal, you know. It's like I'm in my own space. I'm paying $100 or whatever it is to like sit in this room for a night. I'm gonna get my money's worth. I'm just gonna be disturbed. I'm gonna be disturbing, and that I do. That I do. So next day, call up an Uber and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go hit the one team house, which I did. And I had this Uber driver, and he didn't seem very friendly. I'm sitting outside, like it was weird, like the financial, it's like a one-way street. I think he had to drive around the block a couple times. I think I was kind of pissing him off. But we were about halfway to my destination, and the traffic was not good. And I believe this man, he appeared to be from a Middle Eastern country. I'm not really too sure. He was listening to reggae music, but in any case, I don't know. So maybe he's from Jamaica, I don't know. Anyway, but he got cut off and he starts like going on this rant, and he had like 5,500 trips on Uber and like a 5-star rating. He starts going on this rant about how women shouldn't be allowed to drive, and I'm like, wow, you picked the right guy today, buddy. You know what, you earned your tip, thank you. So I made sure to tip him, whatever the right amount was. I mean, I tipped all my Uber drivers when I was out there, but I probably throw extra dollar in or whatever. I was like, okay. I mean, shit, if you're putting 5,000 trips with like old ladies or whatever, old disabled women that take Uber, you're putting that on the line, with taking a gamble on me. Maybe he knew who I was. I doubt it. Even if he did know who I was, I had my mask on and shit, so probably not. Yeah, but he seemed like a nice guy. He seemed like, yeah, his head in the right place. Yeah, so then I pulled up on the one team house, and I did the first thing I do as soon as I touch down. The most important thing, anytime you touch down after you land, and you're downtown, or you're in the town, you're in the square, you're in the village square, you get alcohol. So of course, literally, like I was walking on my backpack on me and everything. They didn't kick me out, but I went to the liquor store and I bought some fucking liquor. Now listen, I don't have a drinking problem, okay? Just because, listen, last night when I was unconscious at my computer last night, okay, it was really due more to the fact that I streamed for 12 hours when I didn't mean to stream that long. The alcohol was just an accelerant of the unconsciousry, okay? So, it was a little bit much last night. I have drank a little bit much sometimes. Sometimes I go a little crazy. But overall, I have been improving, and I don't do that quite as much. But it's part. You're traveling, you're around. It's like you go and get a little extra on food. You go get a little extra alcohol. It's not it's all right. But that's what I got. I didn't even get any cigarettes or tobacco or vaping or anything when I was out there. I thought I might do that, but I didn't. And I pulled up to the spot, and I was told, Big Flame, shout out to Big Flame. He basically told me, he's like, "Oh shit, dude, we kind of just missed you. Like we had to go work today. We had some work going on today." And to be fair, I didn't tell these guys more than like a day in advance that I was pulling up on them, so I couldn't really blame them at all. Couldn't really blame them, to be honest, because I'm like, well, what are you supposed to know? When I just pull up out of nowhere, pretty much be like, I'm at your house, you know. So if you're wondering, I didn't really exactly like go to the studio with those dudes at any point in time while I was out there. We kind of just chilled and fucked around and had a good time, just hung out on some bro shit. So, and that's what I love to do, so that's cool with me. But yeah, that pretty much any case, yeah, like they weren't there, and they told me that they're just kind of chilling and doing the work and stuff, and that they're going to be really busy and just pretty much locked in on doing this work that they're doing. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I just sat in their backyard and I drank like 4 hard seltzers in their backyard and just played music, and it was pretty chill. It was pretty legit. Then Vic hits me up and he goes, "Oh, can you go check out my dog though?" Like, because he just got a new dog. So so I did. I went up and his dog was the most loving. Oh my goodness, what a sweetheart he is. I love that dog. Shout out to Chain. That's his dog. He's a sweet dog. He's a real cool dog. And I was like, I was swarmed with puppy love. Now I understand why that's puppy love is the term that it is. I've been around a puppy in a minute, so, but now I understand. Now I get it. So that was pretty, cozy to be chilling with the dog. And then I decided to go take him for a walk. And so I actually think I walked him twice that day on Thursday. That was Thursday, right? Wednesday. Oh, yeah, I got him Wednesday night, so it was Thursday, yeah. Took his dog around, took him down to walking a few blocks here and there. It was very cozy. It was very nice weather. That was the nice thing about it. I don't think it only rained one day when I was out there. That was Sunday, and I was on the bus Sunday, so it was pretty legit weather the whole time. Also, nice stuff. Yeah, and then eventually, kind of just kept hanging out for most of the day. And then the dudes came back that night, Thursday night, and they were like, boom, we're hitting the rental scooters, the spin scooters. And I had never taken one of these scooters before, was not familiar with it at all. In fact, I didn't know how to ride it or anything. I didn't have the app or anything, but it told me that's what it is. That's the ticket right there. So boom, so I hit that install. We pretty much, like everybody convened at the house for a moment, and then they kind of all like started going to like grab their scooters and stuff. So I'm running around, I'm getting on this scooter, I'm like wobbling, I'm like this, I'm trying to figure out how this shit goes, but I figured it out in a pretty quick amount of time for an old man such as myself anyway. And we're scooting around, we're hitting the streets, we got a big old like chain of scooterers all in, just going down. And we ended up downtown and we went to some food truck that I guess I posted about it on Instagram, and people are like, after the fact, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you ate that shit," But it was good. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it was a food truck in the middle of the street at like 11 o'clock at night or midnight or whatever fucking time it was. But it wasn't bad at all, to be honest. I quite thought that it was pretty good. Excuse me, one moment. I just got this wad of paper towel here from the stream last night. I punched my desk really hard in it. I think it's a good thing I have this keyboard is a mechanical keyboard, because I punched a drink really hard. I think if I still had my flat Logitech keyboard, that's why. That was like one of the last things that fucked my old Logitech keyboard up, is spilling something all over it, and then like all the keys like just stuck down. I don't think we got that this time. I better not press anything. I'm gonna fuck the recording up. That would be no good. But yeah, that was very legit. We basically went back to the house and chilled, and I almost got hurt really bad because I was scooting down the street at like 15 miles an hour, and that's very dangerous to do. Now I didn't hit the pothole that fast, but I couldn't really tell what I was driving over as in the night. There's a light on these things, but still not really that great visibility. But I was coming down at a slower speed, and I went directly into a pothole, and I still have a bruise on my chest and my stomach about it. So like I'm scooting down or whatever, and not, I can't even see what this is at. I'm going down the hill. My scooter just hits this pothole and just fucking like goes in like the front just goes in like this, and the scooter like flips over. Now, once again, me being a little bit taller, me being a little bit bigger, I don't know what exactly might have came into play here, but I basically just like leapfrogged out. Like I just kind of like went and like leapfrogged and just basically like landed on my feet like a couple feet ahead of myself, and like the fucking scooter just like went down and like rips part of the handles off and shit. I guess these scooters aren't insured, or I don't know. People like throw them into the ocean or something, so who gives a shit, I guess. But damn, that could have ended very, very badly, I tell you. It could have been very bad, but it wasn't. So, hey, that means I don't have to worry about anything at all, and I can just do whatever the fuck I want still. But yeah, we pretty much just chilled more Thursday night then. Then Friday, let's see, what did I do Friday? I woke up, and I think we kind of just, I pretty much just chilled more. I pretty much just kept chilling. I chilled Friday, and I don't really remember if there was anything in particular. We were kind of just chilling out at the spot, hanging out with the bros. Some good shit. There's probably some like important stuff that happened the day that I'm just not recalling off the top of my head. But yeah, I think it was mostly just kind of hanging out, chilling, drinking, bullshitting. Ordered some pizza. Just kind of chilling out. Yeah, it's pretty legit. Then Saturday, I got hit up by my boy from Hostage Museum. Shout out to Hostage Museum. They hit me up and they said, boom, we're pulling up in over here. We're going to have some grub. I said, I love to grow what I love, so don't mind if I do. I think I will definitely pull up. So I did. They were coming a little bit out of town, so... Oh, yeah, I don't remember, yeah, because I went... So I ended up taking the dog for a walk. And then, like, it just was, like, a slower walk than I had intended for it to be. So then I ended up where, like, the dudes were waiting at the spot for breakfast. But it didn't end up being a big deal. I got there. But we sat around there and kind of just chilled out on some bro stuff. Had a lot of coffee. And the coffee drinking probably extended, like, over an hour beyond eating breakfast. And all the way up until the place we were eating at, it was like a breakfast only spot. Like it was closing. We left like 2 minutes before they locked the door. So the thing of it was that Saturday I was taking a bus to New York City. It was the first time I was ever in New York City. So by the time I'm leaving the diner, it's like my bus leaves in like 45 minutes. Excuse me. So my bus leaving in like 45 minutes. I'm like, okay, that's not a big deal, because I talked to Bick. Before, and I'm like, all right, yo, Bick, like on Friday or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I got this bus tomorrow, and he's like, oh yeah, bro, I got you. Don't worry about an Uber. I can take you, drop you off. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I go and call an Uber back to the spot from the breakfast place, and I pull up, and yeah, Bick is just snoozing. He's taking a nap. I'm like, oh, hey, Bick, so I got to leave within the next, like 15 minutes or so I'm just going to change into some different clothes. He's like, all right, bet. I'm like, cool. So I go, I get kind of freshened up. I get my little bag, my little backpack for NYC, my first time on the scene. And then all of a sudden, like, Bick, he's having trouble finding his car keys. Like, shit, I'm not. I mean, obviously, I'm sure they found him eventually, but time was kind of the essence. Harkening back to the whole airport situation. Time was of the essence, and my time was extremely mismanaged, as it always seems to be. So, like, I didn't want to, I didn't want to be all like, Bick, my bus about to go. I was gonna leave. Like, it was already kind of understood, but like in the back of my mind, I'm kind of sitting there. I'm just sitting there. I'm just like. Yep. So it is what it is, like I couldn't really in good faith, be like tripping on it because, shit, this is like pretty much entirely on me, like literally 100 different things I could have done to make this a less stressful, intense situation that I didn't do. But as luck would have it, yeah, this dude, B9, shout out to him. I know his name. I don't know how he gets addressed usually on like Instagram and stuff like that. I'm gonna call him B9. But he pulls up, just happened that he was gonna pull up, and so he did. And yeah, like he just happened to pull up, and he's like, "Yo, what's up, everybody?" And I'm like, "Hey, I need a ride to the bus station." So he gave me a ride down there, and we get down there, and there's like a split in the road. on West Exchange Street, I think it's called. And I had never been down there. I don't think he'd been down there. So we just drive where we thought it seemed like the way to go, as far as I could tell. It turns out it was the other way. So we get down there and they're like, "Oh no, yeah, the bus is over there." So once again, I'm sweating bullets. We have like literally like 60 seconds, I'm stood there, and he whips a U-turn. He pulls back out, and he whips back around the other side. And by the grace of God, there was an old man who was arguing with the bus driver about some random shit that didn't mean anything. But that was perfect because then I was able to just at the very last moment catch the bus. I'm talking about like the bus was starting to drive away with me standing on it. And then that also had to do with the fact that nobody wanted to give me a seat. Like the bus was not full. It wasn't like all the seats were full by any means. The problem was that everybody wanted a seat for their bag, and they were all too cool for me. I'm just sitting there. I'm just like hollering. I'm like, bro, I'm not a crazy homeless guy. I'm chill. I'm chill, bro. Like, can I get a seat somewhere? And they're all just like kind of looking out the window. I'm like, hey, can I stay here? Looking at the window. Eventually, some nice fellow, gave me a seat, and it was a 4-hour bus ride, and I was like so, like tense that I was, it was just, I don't know, it was weird, just due to the fact that I like felt that I was imposing on this seat, even though I had to sit somewhere. But I spent like half that 4-hour bus ride just like really like just like frozen in my seat. But I chilled out eventually. That was all good. Then I got to New York City. I was at the Port Authority bus station, and I didn't realize at first, but there was a meme video that got made where this guy, he's like flashing money, he's like, "You broke, you ugly, and you stink, and I fucked a white bitch in France last night," and he's like flashing all these $100 bills and all this shit like that, and he's like insulting some like Spanish woman, I guess. I said Spanish. Didn't realize I was at the Port Authority terminal or bus station or whatever in New York City until I was there, and I took like a selfie of like, oh, I made it out to New York City, and then somebody mentioned it in my Instagram DMs. I'm like, oh shit, you're right. So that was kind of meme magic moment. Yes, sir. Damn, I'm getting kind of worn right now. I didn't sleep a whole lot last night either, even though I literally passed out. But I don't even know the time I went to bed. Like the sun had been up for hours by the time I literally just collapsed last night. Anyway. So don't mind me being a little bit worn here. But yeah, anyways, so the reason why I went out to New York City was because I got invited out to New York City by my good man Baron Julius von Brunk, the Lego man himself, Lego master at work. So I'm thinking I don't know New York City at all. He's telling me, oh bro, just let me know when you're on your way, and I'll come click up with you. So I'm thinking he's gonna like pull up and like pick me up in a car or something like that. No, when he was on the subway, he just literally just pulled right up and got with me. Walked right up. He's like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" So that was pretty cool. I mean, it ended up being the right thing to do because we ended up covering miles of territory. We walked around Manhattan for hours until like I don't even know how much, probably like 6 hours or something like that. We walked around Manhattan. That was pretty crazy because like if you had told me, as I was on my way, like, oh, we're gonna walk around Manhattan for 6 hours, I probably would have been like, oh my god, what? What? Why would I do that? That sounds horrible. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's what I would have been like. Because I mean, you get off the bus and you're all like, you're all like sitting in the seat, and you're gonna just go walk around for all these hours. But I tell you what, it was a really great time. We went to this 24-hour diner. And I got a spaghetti and meatballs, and it literally was just spaghetti with a meatloaf on top of it. This was not meatballs. I mean, technically there was 2 meatballs on it, and they were both the size of like a softball. They were like this big, so it was literally meatloaf. Like, and it wasn't bad. It was not bad meatloaf, but you gotta call it what it is. I was thinking I was gonna get some Chef Boyardee type shit. No, that was some crazy shit. But it did not leave a great first impression for the fact that they did not have plumbing in this restaurant. And we sat there for like a couple hours having drinks and talking a lot, so it was like it was not good. I mean, I don't know what kind of water. I mean, technically they did have plumbing. They just you had to flush the toilet like 5 times even if you took a piss. So, and I swear, I'm telling you, that's actually the truth. So you couldn't do anything else. There was no other way, and they had it was disturbing. It was not good. Let's say they had a bucket. I don't think that shit was sanitary. I don't know what's going on with that. People were using it. I don't fucking know. It did not leave a great first impression in that regard. I guess I found out that that was not the norm, but I didn't have any way to gauge that. Being in New York City, and I already saw a homeless man taking shit on the ground, with all within like the first hour or so, 2 hours. But once again, that was the most uncleanly part of the entire time I was out there. So, but yeah, so we ended up walking around, saw all kinds of sights. A lot of the stuff got closed down out there, I noticed, and Julius was mentioning that to me too. That with the meme flu going on, that a lot of shit got locked down and closed out and went out of business and all this stuff. So that was unfortunate. That was pretty unfortunate. But we got to see a lot. I got put onto a lot of game. I got to learn a lot of things, a lot of smarts about the area that I just couldn't have got it anywhere else, man. Julius, he was a real cool dude. He was a real down-to-earth, real just super chill dude. And we were talking about, before I left, I'm like, I think we're going to do a live stream at his apartment, which we didn't end up doing that. And I don't think that, it would turn out better that we didn't do that because basically it was like, we just had like such a deep, rich conversation just hanging out, man. Like, I was hanging out with one team guys, a lot of fun, but we're kind of talking our shit, we're kind of popping our shit, but like hanging out with Julius, we just talked a lot about like really deep like life stuff, all kinds of stuff, man. And I hadn't really talked to somebody like that in a minute, like, because he was just so real about everything, about like everything that he had been through. And in a way, the kind of stuff that I had been through, I had sort of like, I don't want to say I like walked away from it or like turned my back on some things in my past, but it was like, it's just some shit that I wouldn't think about anymore, like some stuff when I was younger. He's talking about how he went through some bullshit when he was younger, and I went through a lot of similar stuff like that he had gone through, and I would wager that probably a good amount of guys that follow me would have maybe had similar experiences to what we had talked about, just in life, dating, work, general, just that type of stuff. So it ended up being like a real, I'd gone to bed at like, maybe like 1 or 2 a.m. at the latest every other night I'd been out there. And I don't think I went to bed till like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I slept on his rug because, it's a New York City apartment. They're not really a lot, not known for being the most spacious, but it was still a very nice apartment. So like I wasn't tripping on that, but I ended up like, basically just like laying there. Just like, two grown-ass men, but shit, it is what it is, Just on some bro, some hang out with the bro type shit, just kind of chilling on the rug like this. I'm all like, just still like looking at the ceiling, just still talking about life, It was very real deal, And then the next day, got up, cleaned up, freshened up, and met up with this guy, Hallowed. He makes music. You might have heard of him, I got put onto him from that song. He did, I'm a Coomer. I'm a Coomer. That's a good song. It's got the Wojak cartoon with it. You should check it out. But yeah, he clicked. He's like, bro, I wanna, what's up, bro? I wanna. If you're around here, I'm gonna. He wasn't even from really the area, but he was like, I'm gonna drive in. It's not too far, but I'm gonna drive in and tap in. And so yeah, we ended up going. And Sunday, that day was that was like the one day that the weather was bad. So we basically, first we were going to call a cab. Then we couldn't hail a cab. I don't know why. So then we got an umbrella. So then we're like walking. Because we're going to eat at this place. And it was like pretty close to the apartments. So like we just grabbed an umbrella. And we're like walking with an umbrella. And then here's the thing about New York City. A New York City mile. I'm used to a rural mile. Where I'm from, it's like a rural mile. It's like, oh yeah, I just got to walk a mile. Oh, that won't be too much time at all. Walking a New York City mile with all the blocks and all the traffic and all the people and stuff like that, especially when it's raining, and especially when it's a place I hadn't been before, yeah, I was like, oh, it's gonna be like 10, maybe like 15 minutes. I think it ended up being like 25 minutes, and we called a cab halfway through, like, because the rain was just not letting up, and it was just not so good for walking around and not really knowing where the fuck we were going. So we were able to call a cab like halfway through. We could have called an Uber, but the Uber was like crazy expensive for some reason. And I still had the mindset to like get the Uber, but we hailed this cab, and we got in the cab, and the cab is moving like the traffic light has to change like twice before we can even get up to the light. You know, it's crazy traffic that day. And so I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, actually, you know what? Calling an Uber would have been really stupid. Because, you know, what the fuck? I'm going to call an Uber and just still sit in traffic for the exact same amount of time for like double or triple the price. Like, fuck that, to be honest. I mean, it was literally triple the price to get an Uber or more. It might have been even like 3.5 times as much money. I don't know why. But anyway, that shit was crazy. But we pulled up at this spot, this Italian restaurant, and the food was very, very good, by the way. But they ran out of breadsticks. We're like getting an appetizer. I got a pitcher of beer for everybody. We're like getting an appetizer, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we're out of breadsticks." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Damn. That's how you know. I guess that's how you know that it's like gonna be a really good restaurant. Like when they run out of the food, this ain't no shit. You can just they don't got a box. You know, they don't have some kind of box with frozen shit in it that they're just gonna microwave. No, they literally it's handmade every day, and they'll run out of it. You know, that's how you know it's got to be good, and it was very good. But yeah, basically we sat and talked. You know, Hallow's a cool dude, very very humble, very polite, just really really nice guy. He gave me a few knickknacks, and that was very cool. That was very awesome, and it was really pleasant to sit and eat with him and Julius and just chill. So then after that, after our nice little luncheon there, then we went over and he offered to give me a ride back to the train station. I'm sorry, train, bus, whatever, subway, the station that I came, the Port Authority station, because I was only out there for the one day. So by Sunday afternoon, it was about time for me to go back. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, it's still a while. It's like over an hour or more, I think, before my train or my bus was gonna come. So I didn't think really too much of it. But then by the time I'm like, wait a minute, New York City, of course. So it's like, oh man, I got this time. So he's like, I'm like, well, you know, I guess it's not such a bad idea to I'd had this recurring theme throughout my trip that I was constantly like as late as possible to everything. So I'm like, you know, why not have a nice early thing, you know? And I look at, and once again, I think it's like not even 2 miles, or maybe it was. Actually, no, I think it was a few miles. Come to think of it, yeah, from that it was a few miles actually. Because it was kind of like, you know, we're like in lower Manhattan, and it was like upper Manhattan was where that was, or northeast Manhattan. I don't know how you New Yorkers distinguish and differentiate this shit, but anyway. But yeah, it was gonna be like a 20-minute drive just because of the New York State traffic. And I'm like, oh yeah, actually, you know, yeah, it's not gonna be too crazy early after all. So yeah, so he gave me a ride, and Julius hopped out with me, and we basically just chilled at the station and talked some more. You know, popped our shit a little bit, you know, and the station was pretty clean. I used the restroom there, and it was like airport restroom tier, maybe a little bit less, but I was really surprised based on everything I had seen leaving the station the first day that when I'm actually like returning, I'm like, oh damn, this is not bad at all actually. And I guess it used to be even a little more. They used to have like tables and chairs more around before they like, got rid of everything, so everybody would social distance. So to be honest, I don't know. I'm sure it would have been very nice to have all the chairs and tables and stuff there, so I wasn't just standing there the whole time. But at the same time, that might have, you know, maybe less homeless people didn't come around if there wasn't so many chairs to like pass out in, and maybe that made it cleaner. I don't know. Could have been. I guess I'll never know because I wasn't there back in the day at the time, back yonder. But yeah, then you know, it's time for me to get on my bus. So I said, Julius, you know, and shout out to Julius, man. He really gave me a great tour of the area. He was such a nice guy, and if I ever go back out there, I'll most definitely tap in with Julius again. But I got back on the bus, and I got back over to Providence, and you know, I pretty much went right back to the one team house, the one team spot. Once again, everybody's passed out, but or so I thought until then I heard some food being cooked, and I heard some talking and stuff. So I guess that people were actually just playing video games. But like I walked in, like all the lights were off, like everybody was asleep, whatever. And I didn't think that was too out of the ordinary, so I didn't really question it. But I kind of was like just chilling. I had there's like a spot. I don't want to, you know, I'm not trying to like be all like super intricate with talk about everybody's houses and stuff. That's kind of weird. But there's like a little spot where if I come through, I could kind of like crash in a certain spot of the house. So I was kind of just in my little spot. And then I started everybody talking, so then I went and talked to everybody, and you know, then we did end up, or you know, kind of dispersing, and everybody kind of was passing out within like an hour or two. So boom, went to snooze, and I slept pretty good. You know, that travel, man, that'll definitely put a little wear on you. That's for sure. As I said, I'm going to Austin, Texas. Literally, I think I'm going to. I hope this works. because I'm probably going to stop recording this. I need to be at the airport in like an hour and a like or I need to get it. What time is it? Yeah, I need to like be ready for my flight in like within a couple hours. It's gonna take me an hour to get to the airport, so I'm literally gonna like stop recording this when I'm done. I just hit upload, and whatever the thumbnail is, I hope it doesn't look too crazy. I'm just gonna let it rock and roll, and hopefully it works. That would really suck if it doesn't, because then I'm gonna be uploading this in like 3 days, and doing it very like off the top, real old school Egg Wars unedited style for the culture. Then I'm gonna come back and be like, damn, I was all fucked up. Anyways, so yeah, snooze pretty good. Got up Monday, and everybody's still kind of chilling. Everybody was kind of chilling out, but they chilled for a little bit, and then the guys were going to go work on some editing and stuff like that. So then I was chilling again, and I was gonna go see my good friend Charles Carroll, and I posted a picture of us hanging out. It's on my community tab on my channel. If you haven't seen it, you can check that out. So yeah, so it was Monday, and but I was hanging out with Bick's dog Chain again, and so he was very rambunctious that day, and I think Bick kind of said it the best, that like as he got at first he was all lovey-dovey, kissy. But then, like, as he gets to know you, then he gets, like, shows a little bit more of his rambunctious side. So he's running around. He's being Tasmanian devil. He's running around, whirlwind, going crazy. Just a ball of energy. So I thought to myself, I said, you know what would be a great idea? I'm going to take him for I'm not just going to take him for a walk. We're going to go for a jog. We're going to go jog, and I'm going to really help him get some of that energy out of his system. That little puppy, that little puppy gets some energy out of his system. Well, it turns out that was not such a great idea after all, but it is what it is. So what happened was, as I mentioned, once also in my community post, I said that I sustained a little extreme sports incident. Well, I'm coming clear. I'm clearing the air on this incident. I'm clearing the air on the extreme sports incident. It wasn't actually all that. What really happened was, the dog was a ball of energy. He wanted to chase birds and stuff like that, or he like saw birds and it like really amped him up. And so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go. I was sprinting. I was not jogging. I was sprinting at 100% of my maximum capacity of sprinting, because this dog could tear it up. He was tearing up the sidewalk like crazy. There was nobody else around. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday or whatever, so like nobody's around. Everybody's at work or whatever. Excuse me. So I'm tearing it up, and I'm just running and sprinting. I'm just like this, I'm looking at him. I'm looking at the dog. I got the leash in my hand. I am not paying attention to anything else. I'm focusing on the fact that I'm sprinting at full speed, and I'm keeping an eye on the dog, make sure he doesn't do anything stupid or whatever, he eat garbage or whatever. So I wasn't paying attention to the fact that there was a hole in the ground. But my foot did not ignore that. My foot catches the hole in the ground, and I just go airborne. Which for me, I weighed like 240 pounds, so the airborne was about like a split second, and then my body went like this along concrete, like. I ripped my pants, I ripped the fabric off my pants, and I ripped the skin off my knee, among other things. So I still got a couple bruises here. I got bruises on my chest and my legs and various things. And at that split second, at that moment, the leash shot out of my hand, and that was the most terrifying thing to me in the world. That's like babysitting somebody in the stroller, like falls off a cliff or some shit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my god, like hard stop. Even though I just immediately went down on the concrete and fucked myself up terribly. But I'm screaming for the dog, and he just came right back. He literally came back around and pounced on me as I'm sitting there. Immediately like covered in blood instantly, all this shit. He doesn't, he wasn't like that was another split second back in the opposite direction. I'm like, oh my god, oh wait, hey fuck, wait, stop, good boy, nice boy, but oh god, stop, shit. So I'm hobbling back, bloody, hobbling down the streets. I was surprised nobody even hollered about anything, like there was some cars driving by and stuff like that. So I mean, like nobody said anything, I just went down. I'm fucking hobbling around, bloody and disgusting. So I get back to the house. The dog was still full of energy, so shit. I guess it was, I don't know. I guess it wasn't all bad. The dog was fine. He didn't get any thing wrong with him at all, so that's good. That's good. But so I'm sitting there, my pants are torn, I'm in a lot of pain, I'm bloody, and I'm about to go and meet up with Charles for dinner. So I change out of those torn pants. I was able to get a first aid kit at the house. Shout out to Jet. Jet, he hooked me up with a first aid kit. He wasn't there, but he let me know where it was at. Boom, I was able to clean myself up a little bit, get a little bandaging going on. Excuse me. Which turned out to be pretty legit. So I got myself cleaned up. I'm sitting there. I'm just like, oh my god. I'm thinking I'm so stupid. I'm such an idiot. But anyways, I go. And Charles and Afina, they were gonna pick me up. So I told them where I was, the spots. I didn't get picked up from where I was staying at. I don't know. I'm just weird like that. I wanted to walk like a few blocks away to like a restaurant. It was what it was. Not a big deal, but that's, it's like, you say, oh yeah, I live here and it's on this road and you turn here and it's this house with this door versus, oh yeah, I'm at this restaurant. It's picking me up at this restaurant. So it's just, I'm weird like that. That's how I like to do. So they picked me up, and the plan was that Afina, she was going to make a delicious homemade dish for us for dinner, and I thought that was extremely sweet. I was like, wow, I love Charles and Afina. They're just the best. But something different happened, which I did not object to in the slightest. They wanted to go to the coast. They wanted to go to the coast for a seafood dinner and some nice fancy drinks. So I tell you, man, they're just the best. We were driving down to the coast, or I was with them as they were driving down to the coast. We're all talking our talk. We're all having some great laughs. We get down there. I'm hobbling around, but it is what it is. Still, it's just just a lot of fun. Just so much fun. We go in. I tell you, some of the best seafood I think I've ever had, and it was crazy to me because I've had fresh seafood in Los Angeles. I've been to these places in LA. I think I probably eaten some in Florida too. I don't really recall. I remember LA though, because I definitely had a lot of seafood when I was out in LA before, and this shit was way better. Like, it literally was not even close. It was not even close. I don't even know what they're doing in LA, man. Maybe it was a bad year back when I was having it. Maybe this was a good year up here, but fantastic seafood, delicious drinks. We're having a ball. We're having a blast. It's all fully like these old snooty people, and we're just having some good laughs. Great stuff. It was fantastic. I had a great time. It was phenomenal. And then, and they say, oh, Aggie, you want to come back to the spot? I'm like, oh my goodness, of course. And they're like, well, yeah, we were expecting you to come over anyway, so it's all ready for you to come over. But we just decided to do this other thing because they had mentioned it to me last time I saw them. First time I met Charles was in real life was last October, and they had mentioned to me when I was out there at that time. Which similarly to this, this is like the last thing I did before I left, pretty much. Kind of like last time, they're like, oh, Aggie, you gotta go. You should definitely check out this down by the coast. It's got great food. And then, like, I was leaving, like, the next day or whatever. So, similar situation. So, but they, I guess, so I really appreciate them making the call on that. I'm sure that Afina's cooking would have been phenomenal and, mind-blowing on a whole level different as well. But it was nice to get down there and check it out, and because I don't know if I would have otherwise. But anyways, yeah, we swung through. I picked up a couple tall boy beers. We went back to their place and just once again just sat around, had a couple drinks. We were hooting and hollering, within reason. Just talking all kinds of funny stuff. And it's just, it's just crazy, man. You know what I mean? Like, you never expect yourself. It's it's the type of shit where you wake up the next day, and it's not just because I had to wake up like after 3 hours of sleep, a little bit hungover and had to go to the airport. It's that type of shit where you wake up the next day and you're like, damn, is this my life? Is this even real life? Like, I was just hanging out with Charles and Afina, and we're having some drink, me and Charles, of course, having some drinks, some champagne, and just, talking silly, fun shit, having a laugh. Just, that's crazy, man. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy, I tell you. But yeah, anyways, so I woke up, my alarm went off. Very much similar to today. I can't believe I set an alarm. Damn, I was fucked up last night, dude. Holy shit. I can't believe I was setting an alarm. And so that's the thing of it, too, is like after you drink a lot, like you typically, at least for me, usually I kind of see myself to bed or whatever I'm doing. If I don't, then, it's really bad. It's really fucked up. But I usually can see myself to bed or whatever it is I'm doing, and, but then, like, you wake up and you're hungover, so you're, like, waking up and you're like, oh, you don't remember anything. Like, oh, my God, you're just so out of control. So that's kind of how I'm sitting there, like, the alarm's going off. I'm like this. I'm like, oh, how much more can I sleep? Oh wait, fuck, I have to go to the airport like literally right now. Fuck. So I'm getting up. I'm stumbling around. I'm going crazy. I'm out of control. I'm an animal. But yeah, I went and caught an Uber, and it was actually pretty cheap. I don't know why, but hey, shit, I wasn't complaining. Got an air, hobbling, of course. Still, that's been like the thorn in my side the last few days. Now I have to go to the airport again. I don't think I get a window seat this time because I didn't pay for this flight. I got booked to go down to work in Texas, and so I just got what was given to me. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's good stuff. I'm sure it's great. But I don't think it's a window seat, so I might be a little, I'm a little stiff in the knee still. But it's definitely getting better. I can tell because I keep have to redo my bandages and so on every so often. I can tell it's getting better, so that's nice. But yeah, basically very uncomfortably stuffed myself into a couple flights, hobbling around. Got back home and kind of I got back home and I just like laid on the floor for a minute because I'm just like, oh man, whoo, what a trip. Excuse me. Like, damn, that shit's crazy. So true, so true. Yeah, buddy. That it was. Then I, cleaned up and dressed my wound better and everything like that, and fucked around for a couple days. I still have to get a guy a rap verse, and I don't know if he's gonna watch this video. I gotta get the guy a rap verse. He actually, I paid me for a feature already, and I should have done it today. I should have done it any of the last couple of days, and that's on me. And I do apologize to him. I'm definitely gonna get that out of the way. I'll be back Sunday, so just a couple more days. Shit, I'll practice, I'll practice when I'm in my hotel. I'll be yelling and shit to get on point. So I'll definitely be able to rip it as soon as I get home. But, yeah. Well, it's off to Austin, Texas to do some work. Thanks, everybody. That's my trip recap, and it was a lot of fun. People ask me, like, well, I got a question last night. They're like, well, how do you like meet these people? How do you? I just literally show up at random ass places and I say, let's fucking party. That's what I do, man. That's what the fuck I do. People come to my streams. I say, come to my stream. Let's party. It's me sitting in a chair in my basement with a green screen and just like shit yelling and going crazy and stuff. But you know what? It doesn't change. If you see me in real life, it's just me not at my basement, not at the green screen, still wilding out. All in good fun. All in good fun. You gotta love fun. I love having fun. What is life without fun, You shouldn't be a hedonist. But, we live in a world that has no fun. We live in a very unfun world, so I like to have some fun out here while we're out here, All right. Well, that'll be all for today, my friends. Much love. Take care. I will see you all. Oh, shit. Oh, almost clicked the wrong button. I will see you again soon. Take care.